In this video, we'll be hunting a box of pennies, as well as seeing how much progress we can make to the Penny Hunt and Fill album. Of course, we'll be looking for any wheat scents from 1958 or older. We'll also be looking for any proofs, foreigns, errors of varieties, or any other cool things we can find, as well as seeing how much copper we can find and seeing how much we can fill the copper jar. Right now, I do just have this one box in front of me, but I'll probably end up adding one more box onto this video when I can get another one. And we do have one ender in this box right over here. It's a 1947 Denver wheat scent, so it's definitely a good sign for the box. So let's start the hunt, and I'll bring you in when we have our first find. We're on roll 2, and we did get a 1972 Canadian scent out of roll number 1, but I bring you in because we have the first wheat scent of the hunt. It's in decent shape, and it's a 1957 from Denver. Next roll, only on roll number 3, and this is definitely a great sign because I see the edge of wheat scent number 2 already. Hopefully the box can keep up its pace like it has been, and this one's going to be a 1958 from Philly. Next roll again, and that's 3 rolls in a row with a wheat scent because I see one in the back of this roll. This is definitely a great sign for the box. Again, hopefully this pace can keep up throughout the box. This one's in pretty nice shape, couple corrosion spots, but it is a 1952 from Philly. That might upgrade the album. Roll 7, and we're already going to have wheat scent number 4 for the box. And this one is just going to be a last year 1958 Denver. Roll number 9, and this box is continuing to be good because we already have wheat scent number 5. It's in terrible condition. I slid it down because it looked weird, because it has some sort of substance all over it. It's like glue or something all over it, but under that glue, it does look pretty worn. Might be just from the damage, but hopefully that means it's an older one. Oh my goodness. That's a 19... It's hard to see with the glue all over it. I think that's a 1926 Denver. I'm going to put it under the scope to see. Yeah, that is a 1926 Denver wheat scent. 20s with the mint mark. I think this might be even a slightly better date. Let's check the album. Yeah, it's the 26S is only 4 million. That would have been better, but 26 Denver, only 28 million minted. That's pretty low mintage. Definitely will be an album edition. Unfortunately, it's in awful condition with that glue or whatever's all over it, but still, I'll definitely take a lower mintage 20s with a mint mark. That'll be an addition for the album. That is an awesome find. Just opened roll 10, and we're not going to have another wheat scent this time, but I opened this roll, saw a newer looking Canadian near the back, and we're going to have an older one at the front. I'll bring up the newer one first, and it's going to be 1965, and that is the second one of the hunt so far. And this older Canadian right here, already saw the date. It's a 1956, pretty good shape. That means it's going to be a young head. Always love finding young head Canadians. This box has been great so far with the wheats. I'm excited to continue hunting this box. Roll 11, and the box is staying hot. We already will have the wheat scent number 6, just a few coins in right here. And we're going to have 1950 San Francisco. Just opened roll 14, and I see the edge of wheat scent number 7 in the middle of the roll right here. And pretty good shape, probably in the 50s. And it is 1956 Denver. Just opened roll 19, and I see the edge of another wheat scent, but I also see the edge of a more modern looking Canadian, so I'll pull that one out first. It's just a 2000. Then the wheat scent is 1 away from being an ender at the front of the roll, and it is a 1956 Denver. Just opened roll 23, and I see the edge of another Canadian and another wheat scent. Canadian doesn't look like it's going to be too old, and it's just a 1999. And then the wheat scent is a couple coins in front of it, and it's going to be a 1947 Denver, just like the ender. Same roll, and I'm pretty sure I just uncovered another super old wheat scent. Just like the other one, it's pretty damaged, but yeah, 1934. And I know we don't have a 1934 for the album. That is going to be an addition. Not in best shape, pretty corroded, but yeah, we definitely need the 1934. 219 million minted. It's definitely not low mintage or anything, but we just didn't have it yet. So that's another addition for the album in this box. That is awesome. Next roll, and I hope I'm not wrong, but I think we could be continuing the trend of older wheat scents because this edge right here looks really worn. Hopefully it's an older wheat scent, hopefully one for the album, and hopefully it's not a dryer coin. And it is an older wheat scent. It's a 1919. It looks like it's San Francisco, but we already have all of the 1919s. They're all pretty high mintage, but still, it's another wheat scent. Actually, no, not another. The first wheat scent from the teens, and now we have one from the teens, 20s, and 30s. This one won't fill a spot, but we do have those 20s and 30s editions. So this hunt just keeps getting better and better. Just opened roll 27, and I see the edge of a wheat scent right next to a Canadian. Wheat scent looks like it's in terrible shape, but I'll still take it. Canadian's going to be 1991, and yeah, the wheat scent is super damaged, and it is. Looks like a 58 Denver. Just opened roll 31, which was that wheat scent ender, and I just opened the roll, and I see another wheat scent and a Canadian in the roll. Let's take out the ender first, which is a 1947 Denver. It was obverse facing. Then a few coins later is the Canadian, just a 1979. And later in the roll, I see the date of another wheat scent, 1940, out of Philly. That was a pretty good roll. Next roll, I just uncovered yet another wheat scent, and this one's pretty nice. It's a 1946 Denver, still has a little bit of red left on it. Yeah, the reverse is beautiful. This will almost certainly upgrade the one in the album. Hard to find 40s wheat scents that are this nice. That's an awesome find. Same roll, and I just uncovered yet another wheat scent. Definitely not as good as the last one we just found, but it is a 1957 Denver. Roll 36, and we're going to have another wheat scent. It is just a 1958 Denver. Roll 39, and I didn't think it was going to be a wheat scent, but look at that. Beautiful 1955 Denver, full red luster, just an absolute blazer of a wheat scent. And I did look in the album, the one we have is pretty red, but I think this one we just found is still going to upgrade. That is an amazing find. Roll 42, just a couple coins in, and we have another wheat scent from the 40s. And this one is 1944, minted in Denver. Just opened roll 44, and I see the edge of another wheat scent. This has definitely been a great box. Probably just going to keep this video to one box since this box has been really good. And this wheat scent is a 1950 Denver in pretty good shape. Penny box has been hunted, so let's go over the finds. We ended up with 6 1959s, 15 S-mints, and 12 2009s. Foreigns, we ended up with 10, all of them being Canadian as usual, and with the oldest being a 1956 Younghead. And then no side finds, but with the wheat scents, we ended up with 20, which is amazing for one box. I'd even be happy if I got that in 2 boxes, and that we got quite a few good ones in the wheat scents as well. Super nice 1955 Denver that I'm 99% sure will upgrade. Another nice 1946 Denver, not as nice as the 55, but definitely really nice for being in the 40s. That'll almost definitely upgrade as well. Then we got 3 pre-40s, corroded 1934 Philly, but I know that will fill a spot, so that's awesome. And even though it's really damaged, this is probably my favorite find of the hunt. 1926 Denver, that'll be filling a spot as well, even though it's in terrible shape. And we also got one from the teens, a 1919S, which won't be filling a spot, but I'm still happy with any teens wheat scent I can find. And then lastly, copper. We almost filled half the copper jar, which is definitely pretty good for one box of pennies. So overall, super good hunt, lots of finds, lots of amazing wheat scents as well. And I know I'll be making quite a bit of progress to the album, so now I'll compare all the finds to the album and see how much progress we can make. Just finished adding and upgrading everything to the Penny Hunt and Fill album, and here it is. We made a lot of progress in today's episode, and it was a one-box hunt, and the box was amazing. We ended up with 3 additions and 4 upgrades. The 3 additions were, of course, that 1926 Denver, only 28 million minted. It's in terrible shape, but that's still an awesome thing to add to the album. We also added the 1934, always great to add, a wheat scent from the 30s. And the other addition, I didn't know we needed it, was the 1952 Philly, and it's in pretty great shape too, so that's awesome. And then the 4 upgrades we had, all in the 40s and 50s. We upgraded that 1946 Denver, definitely a great example, especially from the 40s. We also upgraded the 1950 Denver, just a little bit of luster left on it. And we also upgraded the 1950 San Francisco, slightly less worn than one we had before. And the last upgrade, of course, that really nice 1955 Denver. One before it was pretty nice, but this one was definitely nicer. Definitely awesome to upgrade that. So with 3 additions and 4 upgrades, this was an amazing 1-box hunt. I would have been happy if we got this out of 2 boxes, but out of 1 box, that is amazing. And this was definitely an awesome episode of the Penny Hunt and Fill album series.